My name is Sabi. I'm going to be your host. I'm really looking forward to this conversation because we are going to cover some very actual, interesting, and important topic, and that is shaping the AI copyright ownership. We will discuss what is the correct term, but I think this is something which should be addressed quickly and, of course, by people who are working in this industry, because we can also see that the EU is addressing it. However, I don't know how many people are working in this industry. So hopefully, my guest Whitney here will enlighten me about this topic, about what needs to be addressed here, what is the situation, and of course, we will discuss about Ringfence, their project, and how they add to this AI on the blockchain. So, welcome, Whitney. Thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you for taking the time, and yeah, really looking forward.
Thanks, Abby. I appreciate you guys having me on, and for you and Morningstar for hosting this.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. So I think let's start with a brief intro. About yourself. What is your background? What did you do? And from there, we just go on.
Sure. So I got into the space in 2017. Like many people, I bought the top of the bull market in 2017, and I really was just fascinated by everything that was happening in the space, whether it was the communities that were being built or the new technology that was being developed. And I spent the next part of 2018 really diving into different areas of Web3. And at that time, it was just referred to as crypto and blockchain. Web3 was something that came later, but um, really got fascinated by a lot of the community aspects of the space. And over the course of 2018 and 2019, I got into GPU mining and spent a lot of time, whether it was spec mining for different altcoins, or just GPU mining some of the bigger projects. Like at that time, Ravencoin was a big one. I was really deep in the GPU mining space, and I started a podcast with a couple of friends in 2019 called the Hash Rate Podcast. And over the course of a couple of years, we grew that into one of the larger mining podcasts in crypto. And around 2019, we started to pivot hard into Bitcoin mining because that was a big focus for people. And in 2020, we actually were named by Forbes, the podcast was, as one of crypto's most important podcasts. And right around that time, I launched Compass Mining, which now is the world's largest Bitcoin mining marketplace. But when we started, we were just three guys who wanted to give everyone the ability to mine Bitcoin, and we did a great job of exposing Bitcoin mining to retail miners. And I think you could safely say that we really opened up the retail mining vertical, giving people the ability to mine Bitcoin with just one machine hosted in a facility somewhere around the world. And ran Compass Mining for a couple of years before passing that off to my co-founders so that I could start diving into the next project that I wanted to build, which over the course of about a year of research led to the starting of Ringfence, which is a copyright licensing platform for generative AI, which we'll talk more about.
Yeah, so we can say that you have a huge part in decentralizing Bitcoin mining then.
That was always our
Which-
focus, right? I
Yeah,
mean, everyone always talks about the potential for a 51% attack on Bitcoin or the potential for too much of the hash rate centralizing in one government. And while I think Bitcoin now is too big and it's too expensive for a 51% attack, we did feel very strongly that centralizing too much of the hash rate in China or the United States or Russia, it would pose a threat to Bitcoin's network overall, because then you are exposed to different legislation. So we
yeah.
wanted to give retail miners the ability to get in and mine and spread some of that hash rate around.
Yeah, and China was almost there. I could talk about this all day, by the way, but I want to focus a bit on AI. I don't want to drift
Sure.
off. Maybe Naimi will just, yeah, he will, she will just jump in if I drift off too much. But let's discuss a bit about AI, because Ringfence's focus, as you just mentioned, is AI, and we are going to dive deep into the project. Can you tell us when
Mhm.
you started to just uh, work in with AI, or maybe just thinking about AI could be like a good project or something with AI. When this happened?
So towards the end of the summer of 2022, I started to do a lot of research on AI, just really looking into a lot of the problems that AI was facing. At that time, ChatGPT hadn't hit the euphoria phase that we would see later in the year, where they onboarded like 100 million users in 6 weeks. But it was still a really cool new product. There was a ton of money being poured into it, and you were starting to see some issues around how the data that's used to train these neural networks and models was being sourced. And for me, it just made sense that blockchain would be a good solution for this. It's a novel concept for us, or for I should say for the world, that blockchain can solve a lot of these problems. But for us, it's very clear. If you're in the space, you can look at a traditional business and find out pretty quickly where you feel that blockchain technology could potentially change a business for the better. And with AI, it just became clear that when it comes to digital provenance, and ownership of IP, an immutable ledger is probably the best way to solve that problem. So I started ideating on how to bring a solution like this to life, and through working with my co-founders, um, we came up with the idea for Ringfence.
Interesting, very interesting. So, do you think this is the one of the biggest disadvantage of AI? Because I think we can, I mean, there are lots of threats, let's say. Some of them are not very severe, some of them are. Even Elon Musk said several times that AI can be very, very dangerous. In your point of view, what is the most dangerous in AI? What could bring the biggest disadvantage? Let's say, I don't want to go in humanity. Let's just talk about day-to-day users.
Well, so I don't think that AI itself is inherently dangerous, and I know that may be a contrarian opinion, but I view AI as a tool. And a tool is whatever the person whose hands it in uses it for, right? So right now, how I see it is that AI is only able to be used effectively by a certain percentage of people. And um, good, bad, or indifferent, we want to make sure that AI can be used by more people to do better work. And in our case, it's creative work. But in general, I don't think AI is good or bad. It's kind of like money, right? Money isn't good or bad. It's how you put money as a tool to work that can be good or can be bad. It's the same for AI.
Interesting. Actually, when you just mentioned, that it's a tool and it can be used in various ways, you reminded me of, for example, about advertisements, that they can be also like that is also a very powerful thing. And it's very important to know who are behind uh, advertisements in order to just judge. And I think AI is kind of the same. So maybe I feel like very similar vibes about it. Okay, do you think that it being a tool, it's also the biggest advantage, that since it can be used for anything, it can be used for anything good as well? How do you feel? How do you see it could improve our life? Or it already did, I think. I mean, that's what I see. I think I can see much more better things which AI brought into our lives than bad things at the moment.
I would agree with you, and I would agree that we're just scratching the surface. Over the course of the past year and a half, I've advised a few different AI companies that are in the medical field, in gaming, and building Ringfence in Web3. And AI has the potential to make drastically massive impacts on these different industries. In medicine, just as an example, you have AI that can read radiology reports. So if you get an X-ray or a CT scan, you can run that through AI. And what they're finding is that AI by itself is more accurate than either a doctor or a doctor plus AI reading the same report, because you're removing all human bias out of it. You're removing a human's previous experience from a processing. You're just putting it in the hands of a machine that is trained on previous results, and then predicting probabilistically what it's reading. So in medicine, I think we're going to see huge benefits in AI. When it comes to other scientific developments, we're going to see a lot more that comes from AI, just because it can compute and process data much faster than we can. And then when it comes to creative work, the creator economy is growing at an enormous clip. I mean, nowadays it seems like so many people want to be content creators, but they may lack a certain skill. They may not be good graphic designers. They may not be good editors. They may have trouble when it comes to producing videos. And AI can essentially boil everything down to your concept. All you have to do is be able to effectively prompt AI, and it can provide for you exactly what you're looking for.
Yes, 100% agree. I think that was said amazing. Okay, let's discuss a bit about Ringfence. And then I do have a couple of questions regarding regulations and
Sure.
AI and blockchain. So, can you tell us about the project? What is the vision? What you guys are cooking up? So we have like an insight, what is coming.
Sure, I can definitely give a high-level overview of the project. Over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be releasing our technical roadmap, our white paper, and a couple of other different things that will give deeper dives into certain aspects of the platform. Generally speaking, Ringfence is a copyright licensing platform for generative AI. So anything that is uploaded to our platform by users, let's say from your, iCloud or an existing cloud service provider, or anything that you are generating using our AI. So at first, it'll be digital images that will be able to be generated through Ringfence AI. We are screening everything, whether it's uploaded or created, against existing copyright, trademark, and IP that exists worldwide to verify that whatever has been uploaded or created is free from infringement. So then you are able to establish as a source of truth your ownership of that content within Ringfence. And then we will give users different ways that they're able to monetize that data. First of which being you will be able to use your data to help train Ringfence's AI, for which we will pay you.
Understood. I think that's great because I did see lots of, I think even YouTube now is implementing regulations about usage of AI or AI created contents. And of course, some people can create much higher quality AI art maybe or graphics or whatever, it can be anything. And then it is very important that you can make a living out of it as well. I find it the same thing as content creation. I mean, probably YouTubers don't like when somebody copies their videos and re-uploads it. We can see it on TikTok, for example. So I really think this is a great project. And as you said, you are just going to release your technical sheet, so we can say that this is a very, very fresh project, right?
It is, yeah. And I want to add to what you just said, Sabi, because while AI can be used as a tool for creatives, I should say, and especially agencies that provide creative work for different companies, right now they don't. And the reason they don't is because they're afraid that they're going to create something that has touched on somebody else's original work, and it's going to end them in a lawsuit in court. Right. Gary Vee posted a video the other day, and of course he runs a big media agency, and he said they don't use AI. And the reason they don't use AI is because they don't want to get sued. And they can't take a contract from a big Fortune 500 company and provide them with creative work that they can use in advertising and different media safely if they are touching AI. Because right now, all AI models that exist are trained and pre-trained on other people's data, which no one has been paid for except for the big companies. So we're working to solve that so that we can provide these custom engines for people who are able to or who want to create, whether it's marketing materials or proprietary stuff for their own use, without the worry of them being sued in the event that they want to monetize their own work.
This is very interesting because I just thought about the ETFs, how technologies are born and then developed, and then there are solutions next to them, developed which makes it possible for bigger companies, bigger institutions to just join in and use it. So I do think that this is a big accelerator. And of course, I think this is a kind of perfect moment for these kind of solutions with the blockchain because I don't know, maybe in 2018 the blockchain wasn't, or the blockchain applications were not in a stage where everything can be done as today. I'm talking about speed, of course, about expenses. How do you see this? How AI and blockchain fit together? Because I do see that you are if I understood it correctly, there will be a huge merge between the blockchain, the cryptoverse, let's say, and the real world, because you mentioned that on and off chain, you are going to monitor, and of course the created AI in Ringfence will be just followed up wherever it goes.
Exactly. It's, I would say that blockchain doesn't need AI, but AI certainly needs blockchain because of how the models have to be trained, because of how data moves through these neural networks and then feeds to different outputs. There needs to be a way to attribute each output to the input that's helped to create it. And this is going to become a bigger and bigger problem over time. And as more people start to use AI for more things, all that happens right now is the liability increases, right? So there needs to be an integration of blockchain technology to keep this ledger so that we're able to actually remove the liability so that people can really experience the full breadth of what AI is capable of. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of applications where AI does just fine, and there are no liabilities. But when it comes to some of these bigger models or anything used for creative work, anything where you may need to establish that value chain, blockchain is the clear solution.
I think I just read somewhere maybe a couple of years ago that blockchain doesn't solve everything, or maybe it shouldn't be applied to everything, but wherever it can be applied and makes sense, it improves it a lot. And I think this is one of those situations.
I mean, look, I've been in the market for a long time, and I love the fact that everyone tries to integrate, Web3 into everything, but in reality, there's plenty of Web2 products that work fantastically and don't need Web3 or blockchain technology at all.
Yeah.
But I don't think AI is one of those.
Okay. So who are the target audiences right now for Ringfence? Let's say in the first rounds, right? I'm talking midterm, right? I think when we talk when I say long term in blockchain, they can be even just 2 years, and that's already long term. So yeah, who are the target? Maybe individual creators or whoever wants to create anything and want to have this ownership of the AI in Ringfence. Can you walk us through about that?
So creators are an obvious one, right? And specifically Web3 creators. But ultimately, Ringfence is built to accommodate anyone with data and help them leverage their data to get paid. So everyone on this call, likely has a smartphone. They take pictures. Some of those pictures don't contain anything personal to them. And rather than just sitting idly in their iCloud or their Google Drive, I'm sure they would prefer to monetize them. And moreover, I'm sure they would like to be able to earn royalties off of any time that content is used in the creation of a derivative work by someone that they'll never see and never meet, and just earn passive income. And that's really what we're targeting this product at. Creators will be the ones who use the platform to generate the outputs that can be monetized. But everyone in Web3 who has a basic understanding of data provenance has the ability to leverage their data to get paid in the training of AI, right? If all of us could have been there when Sam Altman decided that they were going to start building toward AGI, and we could have contributed our data and made a fraction of a cent every time OpenAI, produced an output, I'm sure all of us would have signed up. And here with Ringfence, that's what we're giving people the ability to do. We are keeping it small at first, though. So we're not going to open the floodgates and, expose this to the entire world at first. We are going to grow slow and steady so that we can make sure that the proper systems are in place and that everyone is getting paid a fair clip. And that also on the back end, the technology keeps up with the outputs that we want to provide.
That is amazing. Now, I was thinking about regulations. I don't know if I mean, probably you follow them more than me, but I think there are new regulations coming out in the EU for sure. They just passed something about AI, and my first thought was that maybe this was a bit rushed. Do you guys follow these regulations? Do you think that there will be like a entanglement in the future with regulations, and maybe it will change the project or the course of the project or how the services are made especially these kind of services, or how do you see the future of regulations? Because I think that we started about blockchain, about DeFi, we started with very harsh proposals, but then somehow everything just got in shape, and those bills, the new laws, the new regulations became more accessible, or let's say lighter for the community and for the investors. Do you see something similar with AI?
Yeah, there certainly will be regulations that come down. For us right now, what we're looking at more than the AI regulations, which right now it's still very confused, and the regulators are still trying to get a grasp on it, as are most people in general. But what we look at more are the GDPR rules, right? Because when it comes to that, at least there are clear guidelines that there have been enforcements on, and there's a general understanding of how those work. So we're also not we're not really touching anyone's personal data that they're not already authorizing to share in a way. So it's a little bit different. Um, and we're not sourcing anything unethically. So when it comes to a lot of the regulations that are coming out of the EU or other places, or that will come out, they're going to range in in what they're looking at. But really, as long as you're sourcing everything ethically and you're not allowing like deep fakes or certain inappropriate derivatives, right? Like porn or those things, you're going to be in a pretty good spot. So we're not too worried about how regulations are going to impact what we're building, but we certainly are going to see more regulations come down about AI.
So people in the first place should follow common sense, right? And then everything will be in tip-top shape when we get there. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, like you can have good, clean fun on the internet using AI and be just fine, right? There's plenty that you can do with AI that falls within the scope of ethical behavior, and even stuff that's humorous and maybe slightly degen. But that doesn't mean you have to cross ethical lines that are clear lines. We're a Singapore-based company, so we're bound by certain Singaporean laws when it comes to the certain quality of content that we can have as an output from our platform, which in reality it's more tied with morals and ethics than it is legal framework. So we feel good about it. There's not really much on the legal side that we're worried about.
Well, that's great to hear. I want to go back just a bit about the tracking on an off-chain. Is there a certain technology which you use, or how this go? For example, if I created, anything on Ringfence, right? That's mine, and then somebody takes it or buys it from the platform because they want to use it in their YouTube video or on their Twitter, on Facebook. How this works?
So everything that you create in Mint is an NFT. So it transfers the same way that an NFT would. You've got all of the metadata built right in. And on Ringfence, it would just transfer from one wallet to another. So it's pretty simple in that way. Now, if anything is off chain, then essentially Ringfence is your source of truth, right? So you can always point back to this source of truth in your Ringfence vault and say, this is when I created it. This is when it ran through Ringfence's proprietary verification technology to ensure that I created it and that it's free from any trademark, copyright, or IP infringements. And you always have that source to point back to. It is inevitable that people will steal other people's work. That's just how the world works, right? People right-click save all day long. But it's up to us to help people establish digital provenance, and it's up for people to then go on a case by case basis and determine whether they want to enforce their digital provenance for what they own, right? If you think about like Louis Vuitton, right? Louis Vuitton is an established brand. They make a certain amount of clothes every year, or bags, or whatever the case may be, but there's tons of knockoffs. Now, they don't sue everyone that makes a knockoff of Louis Vuitton. And the reason for that is, having those imposters and imitators out there actually draws value to the original. So some people choose not to take action against those who are, stealing their content. Um, and then there's other cases where people do. And the problem that we want to solve as Ringfence is helping to establish the digital provenance, not necessarily being the enforcement agent that's going to go out and fight people's battles for them. That's ultimately going to be up for them to do for themselves.
Yes, of course. Okay. Now I got it. Thank you very much. I
You're welcome.
had some blurriness around this, but now I got it. Thank you very much for the explanation. Okay, so how can the audience join and try Ringfence? In what stage you are right now? When the gates open? You said that you don't want to open the gates like 100% because you just want to go step by step, maybe baby steps. So when the small gates start to open, then people can just join in, try out. Let's see what is it about. I think there is already a waitlist on your website, if I remember correctly.
There is, yes. We've been fortunate to have about 25,000 people sign up for the waitlist, and the waitlist is open. You can just go to ringfence.ai and register, and you will be the first up to get access to the platform once it goes live. We will have more information about how to gain access that's going to be released in the next week. And the first round of participants will be able to confirm their access to Ringfence towards mid-March, with the platform launching in mid-April. So we've got a busy few months ahead, and we're looking forward to it. And we are excited to get the product out into the wild. Also, a way that people can follow us is in the next week, Ringfence will actually begin hosting their own spaces on X. And in that space, we will cover a lot of what's going on in Web3, AI, and the creative world. And we'll feature some really cool friends of the project who will be on and talking about different things in the industry.
But we will 100% listen in, and I just wanted to address the audience that if anybody has any questions, then you should type into the comments right now, because I'm just about to ask my last question, and it's going to be an easy one. So probably we will get a very fast answer to that. So yeah, if you have any questions, just type into the comments, and we will pick one or two. Now, the last question is very easy. It's about announcements, what our audience can look out for, what they should look out for in the upcoming couple of weeks, maybe 1 or 2 months, except what you just mentioned, obviously, if you have anything to share with us.
There's nothing more than what I've shared already. I'm not a huge fan of announcements. I guess I've already given a couple of those today, but I would say just keep an eye on our Twitter or X, whatever the case may be, whatever we're calling it these days, and you'll get all of the information that you need. We've also got a link to our Discord. If you want to get more engaged with the team, you can jump in the Discord and chat with us and ask all of your questions. We are always available to everyone. And then a lot of our team be in Dubai for Token 2049. If anyone's going to be in town, just let us know, and we'd love to meet up with anyone who's excited to use the platform.
Yes, and meet us as well, because probably we'll be there as well. Well, I don't see any questions, and I think that's a good job from you, because it means that everything is clear. We will 100% come back with another spaces after the rush hour just finished for you. It's when you have the gates open, because just to catch up to see how was the experience, how everything is going. What can I say? It was very nice talking to you. Thank you very much for taking the time again. And yeah, looking forward to the next one.
Thanks, Abby. And thank you as well, Nani. I appreciate you guys both setting this up and hosting.
Yeah, our pleasure. Okay, everyone. Thank you very much for listening in. Don't forget that these spaces are recorded. You can also find it on Spotify, Apple Play, whatever you listen to. Make sure that you give us a like. Make sure that you follow Ringfence as well. And you keep out for the big announcements, because they are coming, as you could hear. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice evening.